The Orange Democratic Party has become the subject of discussion, especially after Raila Amolo Odinga lost the bid to become the African Union Commission chairperson. Now people are guessing what exactly is Raila up to after the AU fiasco. Because we've seen the Orange Democratic Party officials and leaders and supporters breathing hot and cold. They are speaking from both sides of the mouth. Others are saying that Raila should support Ruto, that they should have an office for Raila Amolo Odinga. Others are saying Raila is too senior for a created post. Some are saying that it is time that Raila joins hands with Uhuru Kenyatta ahead of 2027. But others are saying that they must stand for what ODM actually means, because they're saying that ODM cannot support a regime that has failed. Now, the biggest question that people have been asking is ODM in government or in the opposition? Because now ODM looks amorphous. There is one hand in the opposition, the other in the government. And this question has been asked over and over again, but they usually win this discussion by asking one question. Give us the evidence. Is there a written document between UDA and ODM to show that officially they are working for the government? And people, they have always won this discussion that there isn't any written document. There is no MOU. Now, there was an argument, or rather an interview, a discussion between the eloquent McOure, who has now joined the ODM youth wing, and he's saying that he's supposed to eloquently articulate the issues pertaining to ODM, especially that concerns the youth. And a young lawyer, and for the first time I found someone who could debate with this young lawyer. I don't know his name. And this young lawyer brought something that I think will end the discussion on whether ODM is in government or in the opposition. And I just want you to listen to this before I move on.
Jeff, let me get back to Kasmol first. Kasmol talks very gloriously and very beautifully of the Orange Democratic Movement.
No, but also I think let us not make jest of it, because this is very important. This is a leap forward. This is a leap forward, Jeff, and I think this is part of what I would like us to let's just we do not need to be dramatic about this. I think that my role in the Orange Democratic Movement Youth League is to as eloquently, as articulately articulate the positions of the party.
Okay.
So if we make it kizungu mingi, then that seems like it's in jest, but I am taking this very seriously. In fact, if you give me a short break, I'll come with the merchandise. You know, I'm always walking around with merchandise from the party. So let's just skip it.
In the break, we'll do that. Mohammed, Maliza, your thoughts?
Yes, Sadef. I mean, no doubt that Kasmol strongly believes how good he spoke of ODM. Unfortunately, that is not the reality. Those ideals, which we all love, which he has spoken very beautifully about the Orange Democratic Movement, are only the ideals of the Orange Democratic Movement when they are out of power. The people's concerns for the Orange Democratic Movement, they are only concerned about the people. They're only concerned about the cost of living. They're only concerned about abductions. They're only concerned about every evil that the government of the day commits only when they're out of government. And I'll tell you why. In 2017 or thereabouts, I think, the Orange Democratic Movement got into a handshake with the then Jubilee regime in power. You remember Capitol Hill, you remember the saying Mosho Moja. You would go there and you're sinless now. Everything has been sorted. You would go get your stuff done. So those ideals are only the ideals of the Orange Democratic Movement for as long as it suits them and their agenda to get into government.
But the Kenyan voter does not care for those as well, because they would have put us in power. We have never been in power as the Orange Democratic Movement, sir. Please be fair to us.
To that as well, the Orange Democratic, and you asked him, are you guys in government? The Orange Democrat, and he asked you, please provide like a write-up or a contract or an agreement. Yes, the Orange Democratic Movement might not be in government de jure, but the Orange Democratic Movement is in government de facto.
You like?
Yes, just a minute. Okay. No, I don't. De facto. 3 or thereabouts, 4 of their senior members are cabinet ministers. They sit in the cabinet of today. So this idea that you must present, if anything, we understand that you can be at the heart of government and you have no write-up to support you. That was displayed by Rigathi Gachagwa's fallout. He said that if only thing, I and the people of Central Kenya are the people who did not ask for a contract with this government. Here is what the people of Western Kenya through Ford and through Amani negotiated. We are only the ones who did not negotiate. So this question or this ask of a legal document or a proof is not politics. It's not the reality of politics. The reality of politics is that the Orange Democratic Movement is very much in government. Secondly, Jeff, if we characterize all the problems that Kenyans face or all the cries of young people as mere logistical issues, that we're working on them, that please follow the process, there's a bureaucracy in place, that is what failed governments do.
Because I'm also learning, I'm not a lawyer, I went on a searching spree just to find out what exactly does the de facto and de jure mean. De facto is a term that we use every now and then, but de jure, I think for the first time, this is the first time I'm meeting. So they're saying here that in law and governance, de facto describes practices that exist in reality, even though they are not officially recognized by law. And in law and government, de jure describes practices that are legally recognized, regardless of whether the practice exists in reality. So the ODM is in government de facto, not de jure, because de jure is when they are legally recognized as part of the government. But now they do not have any legally binding document, and therefore they will win the argument. But now, as the young lawyer puts it, de facto practices that exist in reality, even though they are not officially recognized by law. So you've seen ODM espousing the issues and the position of UDA, and that tells you that they're in government. And if there is an argument that I love, the young lawyer is giving us an example. Rigathi has maintained that when he joined William Ruto, because of trust, they never got into an alliance with this party. He didn't have a party. He just said, let's form UDA. While people like Wetangula and Mudavadi and even the PAR party of the Speaker of the Senate signed a deal. So this young lawyer is explaining to us that it is possible to be in government, yet there is no legally binding document. Like Gachagua was the deputy president, but he didn't have a party. So ODM, in fact, the discussion and the explanation by this young lawyer puts to rest this argument that, give us a document that shows that ODM is in government. ODM is in government de facto, not de jure. I've also learned something. But ladies and gentlemen, what are some of these practices that show that ODM is in government? Because I don't know what to think. Do you really believe that ODM is in government or in the opposition? Because if you ask me, in my very considered opinion, Gachagua is the leader of the opposition party. Gachagua is the one that is speaking for the weak, speaking about issues that are bedeviling the country. When the government demolishes people's houses, Gachagua will speak about it. Gachagua is the one who's saying Adani did not resonate well with the people. Gachagua is talking about abductions. And therefore that qualifies Rigathi Gachagua to be the de facto opposition leader. Now, ODM, as we have said, they are exposing the ideas and the position of the government. What are some of these? They sanitized and supported Adani deal. That was Raila Amolo Odinga himself. And that has been the government position. They killed the Gen Z protest when Ruto had been cornered. And with that, they are saying that we got into the government to stabilize it, that we have stabilized the government. How? Because they joined it, and so they are in government. Do you know that the Finance Bill 2024 that was rejected by Gen Zs have been returned and they were passed in Parliament? They were financed, I don't know, some amendments there that John Mbadi brought, courtesy of ODM accepting to work with the government. You know, they say when it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, then it is a duck. The ODM has supported everything that William Ruto wants. There was no IEBC, and they were not in a hurry to even ask what was happening. Unlike them, they have always put the government on toes. They have also asserted with authority that they are going to support William Ruto ahead of 2027 and even after 2027. You know, for them to come as an opposition leader, you are supposed to oppose, that is the meaning, to oppose the government. Of course, they say that there should be constructive opposition. You're not supposed to side with the government and even declare your support for the government. Then that means they are not in opposition. And I know they have always said that Raila was never born to accumulate tear gas. Raila was never born to consume tear gas. And I agree that even at the age of Baba today, it would be very bad if he's subjected to tear gas. He's done enough. He's been on the streets. Let someone take over. But the fact that they have declared support for William Ruto tells a lot that they are not in opposition. It reminds me of after 2020, after 2002 election, Uhuru Kenyatta was the official opposition leader, and he decided to resign. And I think they must have sat in a meeting and they said, after Kibaki, we are going to support you. And that is how Uhuru Kenyatta became the president. We didn't have opposition then. So, ladies and gentlemen, the fact that they've declared support also corroborates what the young lawyer is saying, that they're in government. They have 5 cabinet secretaries in government, and they have declared that they cannot give William Ruto experts to work for him. Then they turn around and backstab him, or they turn around to oppose the government. And so they have said they will support William Ruto because William Ruto has appointed their members. In fact, I remember there was this argument that Edwin Sifuna is confronting the finance CS, John Mbadi, and the energy CS, Opiyo and I, with some tough questions. And Robert Lai was saying that this is an attempt to demean the Luo community. That is saying that when it comes to questions or trying to evaluate what John Mbadi and Opiyo and I are doing, he always asked hard questions. To me, that was not true, because you remember that the 2 ministries that were very controversial were the finance and energy. Why? Because of Adani. When Adani got into a contract with the Kenyan government, finance docket was directly engaged in it, and Adani had a deal to promote our energy, and therefore the 2 ministers had to be asked questions, not because someone had a personal vendetta with them, but because they got into ministries that were very controversial. So, ladies and gentlemen, the ODM is in government de facto, if I can still remember the 2 terms. And I agree with that young lawyer. ODM can never pretend that they're not in government. They are in government. It is only that they have placed one foot in government and the other in opposition, just in case. Do you agree with that young lawyer? Because the example that he gave about Rigathi Gachagua getting into government without a written document really explains just how open ODM is also in government without a written document.